So the breaking news, which is courtesy of Sky Sports News and Talk Sport, is that the transfer of Lucas Paqueta to Manchester City is on hold. I don't want to say it's off because that's over sensationalising the news that's coming out. They say it's on hold. Well, actually, they're a little bit more specific than that. That is that the transfer is 90% unlikely to happen, which is quite a strange thing. There's been a little add-on, a little bolt-on the last 30 seconds before I was about to record this video, which is that the agents and intermediaries are looking to try and iron out the issues to see if they can resurrect the deal. And the deal may have broken down for confidential reasons. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my life in terms of a reason. Look, you know, if it's confidential, it's confidential. Just say it's broken down. Don't hint at some underlying reason why it might have broken down. The truth is, I think it's probably a very, very obvious reason why it's broken down, but I don't know that at all. What I was very aware of was West Ham's valuation, which was 85 million. Now, we have a buyout clause, basically, which was inserted into Lucas Paqueta's contract at the request of his agents for 85 million, which kicks in the end of next season, basically. End of June, start of July 2024. Before then, there's no buyout clause. But West Ham was still looking for 85 million because we thought it was a reasonable fee. We thought it was the agreed amount that he was worth, and that was what was agreed when Lucas Paqueta first signed the contract. It is worth pointing out that the player has no intention of kicking off or striking or anything like that. And I have to be perfectly honest with you, when I first heard the news, I thought, good. I don't want him to leave. If there's a way that we keep him, then that's all well and good. I always suspected Manchester City wouldn't be prepared to stump up the full amount of the money because they sort of showed their hand in the way that they pursued Declan Rice. It got to a point, got to about 80-odd million, and it became a little bit too rich for them. And that was Declan Rice, who's obviously proven in the Premier League over a number of seasons rather than Paqueta, who's had one good season. So I'm not surprised that they haven't stretched to that. As I understand it, the first bid was a verbal one. It was 69 million, something like that. The next bid was in the low 70s. So nowhere near, a long, long way away from what West Ham wanted. And if there's one thing that West Ham have demonstrated in this transfer window is that they will pursue the sale of a player. I say pursue that. They will insist on the sale of a player is done in West Ham's best interests and West Ham's terms. There was never any inclination or any desire from the club to sell Declan Rice for anything less than 100 million. And there's certainly the message that was going out to other clubs who were wanting to buy Declan all the way along was, yes, we're asking for 120 million, but within the club, they were never going to accept anything less than 100. And the message going out was, well, you know what, we'll just keep him for another 6 months and then we'll revisit this in January. So I thought they played that very, very well in terms of a sale. We're not quite as good at buying players, but selling them, we've done reasonably well. I think the same would go with Scamacca. AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus and Roma all wanted to loan Gianluca Scamacca, and this was a deal that was never going to suit West Ham. And I think in the end, the deal that they got from Atalanta, which could eventually yield up to sort of 29 million euros in a permanent transfer, was as good a deal as we could possibly get, bearing in mind he'd had a pretty crappy season and was totally unsuited to the manager's style of football. So I think West Ham sold well, and there's no reason to believe that we will do anything other than that in the Lucas Paqueta transfer. It's worth pointing out the club have no desire to sell him at all. I was doing the Patreon player ratings with Gio after the Bournemouth game, and I think I might have this right. We were looking at the stats. I think Paqueta might have had the most tackles for West Ham in that game, believe it or not. And so this is our sort of silky playmaker. Yes, he obviously gets asked to defend more than he would like, or more than we would like him to be asked under the stewardship of David Moyes, but it does show that he's got a bit of everything, hasn't he? He puts his foot in, he makes the tackles, he can make the pass, he can finish the season scoring some goals as well. I would love to keep Lucas Paqueta. I think what is really important, if we do so, is we still go out and buy these targets that we've been looking at, which would be Mohamed Kudus. Well, we'll get on to him. Maybe we'll do a little video later. It does appear that there's some breaking news on that. I might discuss him later on. But just to get back to Lucas Paqueta, I think if we keep him, it's important we still go and buy these other players, because then we do look strong. It has to be said. You know, we've lost Declan Rice, but I think you can argue that we've strengthened. That would certainly be my belief anyway. As far as Paqueta's concerned, there's these ongoing negotiations. It's not just with Manchester City. I think Manchester City are not going to get close to what we want in terms of money. And next season, you can just buy him for 85 million. So that's what someone's going to have to pay. But how are we going to... It's not spin this, but how are we going to communicate this with Lucas Paqueta? I think I would just, as a club, I'd just be saying something along the lines of, look, Lucas, we understand you want to leave, and we've given you permission to leave. But Manchester City do have to match the asking price, and the asking price was set by you, mate, and your representatives. You decided on the £85 million figure. The reason it doesn't kick in until next season is that we all collectively agreed that you'd stay here for at least 2 years. So we're just asking you to keep to your commitment. We will let you go early, but they have to match that price tag, and it was your price tag. That's your one there, and they're not getting anywhere near to it. And you can't allow a club like Manchester City to bully you and undercut you, because there's two separate things at play here. Manchester City don't want to overpay, but they are massively capable of paying the money. They are the second richest club in the world, that or thereabouts. If I'm wrong by one. They're the third richest, but you get what I mean. They can afford it. The difference of whatever it might be, the 13 million difference or whatever there might be between our valuation and what they're willing to pay, is a drop in the ocean for them. They literally just sold. They've just sold a winger who's never made an appearance from less than that, a goalkeeper who's never made an appearance from for more than that. They can pay more if they want to. So I think I'd certainly be saying, Paqueta, look, mate, this is a sort of, they have to show willingness to buy you, and they're going to have to match it. We have to go out and find a replacement for you, and this is the thing. 85 million is his figure, and I would only say that because I would like to appease him. I would like to explain the situation. Just say to him, look, we are good to our word. We did this with Declan. We said to Declan, come on, give us one more season and we will let you go. We'll do that with you. It's in your contract. Give us another season, please. We're in Europe. We're bringing players in. We're going to try and sort of match what we did last season in European terms, and certainly try and get to the Europa final. This is what I'd be saying to him. I'm not sure whether or not we'll do it. And we're looking to bring additional players in the league and inject a little bit more pace into the team, and sort of hope that might encourage him to want to stay. The truth of the matter is, he has to stay. If we don't accept a bid, he has to stay. But you do want a sort of motivated player, and the having to stay is the stick. You almost do want to sort of encourage him and offer him a little bit of carrot, so to speak. And I think that's something that I'd be doing. This is going to run and run again all day. These things do. I don't know what the real issue is, why the agents are all going to sit around and discuss things with West Ham. I think this is quite clear, really. Is Manchester City want the player. Manchester City are going to have to pay. Do you know what? I'm pretty sure if City came with 82, 83 million, we'd probably let him go. But if they're getting nowhere near, if they're 10 million less than that, I think we owe Olympic Lyonnais a 10% sell-on fee. I'm not sure if that's 10% of the overall transfer or 10% of the profit. I'm not entirely sure. But bearing in mind what we bought him for, look, he's been a really, really good signing. But I understand why the club want to hold out for that level of money, because it's just going to allow us to reinvest. And we do finally appear to be buying players now. And hopefully it looks like there's going to be a couple over the line in the next day or two. Anyway, I'll be back later on or tomorrow morning with another update. Maybe some of it will pertain to Lucas Paqueta. I'm not entirely sure it will. I don't know about you. It's got one of those transfer deadline day feelings about it.